welcome to the weekly watch list. I am your host, Jeff Kohler, aka the Option Addict from www.tradingaddicts.com. It's a holiday weekend, so I'm going to keep this pretty short and sweet. You know, from a technician's point of view, I think the thing that everyone's watching here, as of right now, is this little head and shoulders pattern, which is growing ever so close to confirming in the old S&P. Once that does, it points to more downside in stocks, probably right down here around the 800 level. But for right now, we saw a pretty nasty day on Friday where we sold off all the way throughout the session, even into the extended 15 minutes of Friday's session into the close. So, I don't know, maybe we might see a little bit of a reluctance to break down beneath that 880 level, but if it gives way, I think you got to short into that pretty good, as I think the rest of the market will. So as we look across the charts today, you're going to notice there's patterns all over the place that look pretty heavily correlated to this action. You don't have to look far to see a whole lot of head and shoulder patterns out there. So I've reduced the number of those, but I'm looking more at continuation patterns. I'm looking at trends. And this week we also are going to re-implement the $10 darlings. So let's start with a couple of dips and rips and some cheap and nasty stocks. Alright, so the number of price patterns that I'm watching this week, it's kind of a small little basket of stocks, but let's go ahead and get started. First one here is Vistaprint. I don't know, I like the way this thing's trending. I like the way it held up here into the close on Friday, and I also like this nice little triangle pattern that's been forming up here, so watch for a breakout come early next week. Also, Lifetime Fitness, who would have thought? I've been watching this here over the last few months. Tightening up, it's trading here down towards the end of its range. I wouldn't hop in there and trade into this right away, but I want to kind of watch this one for the next several days and see if it can take out overhead resistance up there at about 21. Next is PF Chang's, and I got to admit, the restaurant stock's been holding up pretty well. I got kicked down pretty hard on Friday, but I don't know, maybe throughout the rest of the week, if this lower level holds here around 31, it might be a pretty good spot for an anticipatory breakout trade in PF Chang's. I also like the way rate is setting up, but with this breakdown that we saw here on Friday, I don't know. This thing broke down pretty hard here on Friday, so what I'd be looking for is a retest right in the ballpark of about 24, and if that level holds, I think that might be a pretty interesting spot to get short. You can also see a pretty similar pattern I'm watching in steel stocks, but most notably in U.S. Steel, way it's trading right on down to its neckline. So Louisiana Pacific and Lumber Liquidators, I don't know, I'm watching these two little stocks right now, just anything around the topic of lumber. Call me crazy, but I don't know, I'm looking at this and seeing if it can dip down to around 15 or so. That might be a pretty interesting spot to try to buy this bad boy. It's been pretty strong on the movements to the upside. There's some crazy stuff going on with lumber here lately, so I don't know. This could be a buy the dip candidate, but I also like this little triangle that's forming. If you want to look at head and shoulders, I like this just collapse we saw in Abercrombie & Fitch here on Friday. Retail has been pretty schizophrenic, so if we see a big pop in these stocks, Abercrombie & Fitch jumps back up to about 25, I think you got to buy some puts there. Look at a couple others. We'll start with diodes. Watching this triangle also. It's been holding up pretty well on the pullbacks. Watch for a breakout here into next week. Blue Coat Systems, BCSI. It's been pretty stable the last couple of days. I don't know. I think this thing wants to go higher. And with that, we'll call it good. It's a holiday weekend. I don't want to take up too much of your time. This is the Option Addict. That's been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.